Respected dignitaries and all the participants, good afternoon to one and all. Government Ramnaran Chalaram College of Commerce and Management, Bengaluru extends a warm welcome to all for this Day 2 IFD program. The dynamic realm of academic research requires ceaseless chiseling of research methodology. This program is designed with primary objectives to facilitate the participants to develop a pragmatic approach towards identifying, understanding, and employing complex business research prospects in their research endeavors. To synthesize the participants on the dynamic alterations in micro and macro environment of Indian economy and its scope on future trends in business research. To introduce the target group to the state-of-art and innovative analytical tools and advanced statistical techniques that are applied in financial research and analysis, and also to equip the participants to develop a holistic approach of deducing the disruptions in business and technology, and to motivate them to adopt them in their research aspirations and development. To encourage the participants to explore and appreciate the empirical and qualitative facets of research designs and to assist them in inculcating the same in their research practices. With this view, we have moved on to the second day session. The topic is trends in scales of measurements and questionnaire techniques. With us, we have Dr. Pn Hari Kumar, sir, Professor, School of Business Management and Legal Studies, University of Kerala. May I request Professor Tasin, madam, to introduce our resource person. Over to you, madam.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second session of International Faculty Development Program. We are eagerly waiting to listen to the versatile speaker, Dr. Pn Hari Kumar. He is a highly respected and renowned speaker. At the outset, I am profusely indebted to Dr. Pn Hari Kumar for taking out time to share his thoughts with us. He is professor in the School of Business Management and Legal Studies, University of Kerala, Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala. He did his BCom Accounting and BCom Corporation from Kerala University. He has done his MCom in Finance from Mahatma Gandhi University and MPhil in Finance from Kerala University. He has done PhD in Management Marketing from Kerala University in 2013. He has presented papers in national and international seminars and conferences, and also chaired many seminars and conferences. He has published more than 100 research papers, articles in ISSN and ISBN journals, which has a very high impact factor. His contribution to the field of commerce and management education is highly acknowledgeable. He has authored 46 books and has attended over 25 FDP training programs in order to keep himself abreast of development and enhancement in the field of commerce and management education. Besides this, he also has a rich experience in the field of editorial of the print literature, has worked as chief editor for journals. On behalf of Government Ramnaran Chalaram College of Commerce and Management, we welcome you, sir. I would like to welcome our beloved principal.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. I would like to welcome our beloved principal, Dr. B. Chandrasekhara, chief patron of this FDP program. We welcome you, sir. We extend a warm welcome to advisory board members, Dr. M. Muralidhara, associate professor and research guide, GFJC Kolar, and Mr. B. N. Girish, associate professor, GFJC Preserton, Bangalore. We welcome you, sir. We extend a cordial welcome to the organizing committee, Dr. Etaz Ahmed Khan, Srimati Sachita Popaya, Dr. Prahlad Chaudhary, and Dr. H.K. Satish. We welcome. And also welcome the organizing team members, Dr. Sri Lakshmi, Dr. D.K. Natraj, Dr. Prakash, and Syed Rahmatullah sir. On behalf of Government Ramnarayan Chalaram College of Commerce and Management, we extend a warm welcome to all the participants across the globe to this session. We welcome you one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, Tasin Madam. Now, may I request Dr. Pn Hari Kumar sir to begin with the session. A warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. And firstly, I extend my sincere thanks to the organizers for inviting me to deliver a talk on measurement and how to prepare a good questionnaire. And I have visited RC College in the year 2003 when I did my first PhD in commerce. And I got a second PhD in the area of marketing in management. So with this experience, definitely I can tell something about research, measurement, the different scales used in the questionnaire or interview schedule document. I also express my sincere thanks to Muralidhar. He is a very good friend of mine. And for over the last 12 years, I continuously deliver talk on research methodology and applied statistics in the Human Resource Development Center of Mysore University and Bangalore University. So due to the pandemic situation of COVID-19, I couldn't come directly to Mysore and Bangalore. So in my experience, I asked many questions to research scholars, especially when they attend the pre-submission seminar or open defense. After submitting their thesis, the evaluation is over. And I know the common question I ask normally, what is your sample design? Which method you applied for the selection of sample? And how did you collect the data? And also different scales you used in the questionnaire or interview schedule document. And I would like to say, almost all the research scholars and candidates have not answered such questions properly.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Participants are calling me and requesting you to switch on the video, sir. Video, and you can share the PPT, sir.
Okay, definitely. You wait there. So normally I ask many questions to the candidates when they conduct the open defense or pre-submission seminar. And such questions were not answered by them properly. What is your sample size? What is your sampling method? And what are the different scales used in your questionnaire or interview schedule for collection of data? So here I am structured my lecture like this. The first 10 minutes, I would like to explain the basics of research. Next 10 minutes, I would like to explain what is hypothesis. Another 10 minutes, I would like to say something about the data and the data analysis, the different techniques. And after all, definitely I will enter the very important topic, measurement and scaling, the different scales used in your questionnaire for the collection of data. So here I want to share my screen. Can you see my PPT?
Sir, we do.
Okay.
Sir, video, I think.
Video definitely. After half an hour, I will, because I have some connectivity problem here.
Fine.
My video is blocked. My video is blocked. Anyway, I will try to unmute my video.
Fine. Fine, sir.
See, the word research has many meanings. You can see different meanings in different referred textbook written by many authors. What I would like to say, research means search for knowledge, a systematic search and research for getting the knowledge. And we can say research as scientific and systematic search for knowledge, systematic and scientific procedure for getting new knowledge. Careful investigation for new facts. New facts can be obtained by an investigation. That investigation is sometimes called research. Systematized effort for new knowledge. Whatever be the aim of research, the main aim is to get new knowledge. Another one, a movement from the known to the unknown. We are standing in a place where we have some idea, and we want to go some other places where we have no idea. So that means a movement from the known to the unknown. That is called research. And knowledge of whatever unknown. We want to tap something from the unknown area. That process is called research. So out of these 6 meanings, from my experience, I would like to say what is the exact meaning of the term research. Search for new knowledge. Additions to existing knowledge. We have some knowledge. Say, for example, S2O, 2 molecules of hydrogen, 1 molecule of oxygen, that will give water. We going to get something additional. That means, if we add 1 more molecule of nitrogen, S2ON, what will happen? What is the outcome? So research means additions to existing knowledge. But the most important meaning of the term research is scientific inquiry. And this definition, scientific inquiry, is related to commerce and management's research or the research in social science. So research in social science, in which we clearly go into a scientific inquiry, that scientific inquiry is called research. So this is the most important definition of research, because almost all the steps of research in social science subjects are included in this definition. You can see this definition in almost all the books written by the authors. And this definition is given by the Clifford Woodley. This definition indicates almost all the elements in research. And this definition is related to the research in social science, especially in commerce and management. Research comprising defining and redefining problem. Research starts with a clear-cut problem. Nobody can do research without having a good problem, a valid problem. So problem identification is the first step. Problem identification in a particular area. Then that problem has to be defined and redefined. That means make the problem more clear. More and more sub-problems have to be identified from the main problem. That is why it is called define and redefine the research problem. So normally in social science research, you can see a particular phenomenon. One element is connected to another element, that element is connected to some other element. So element I means here variables. One variable is connected to another variable, the second variable is again connected to some other variables. So there is a network of relationship, chain of relationship we can see in social science research. Say for instance, Customer satisfaction is affected by good quality products, good quality products. Again, the customer satisfaction is affected by cheaper price. Again, the customer satisfaction is affected by after-sale service. Sometimes the customer satisfaction is affected by advertisement. So, n number of factors affecting a particular phenomena. Such factors are connected to each other. So, there may be a network of relationship, chain of relationship amongst these variables, these factors. And based on such a relationship, we have some prediction, we have some assumption. That assumption is called hypothesis. In scientific research, we can't see any hypothesis. In laboratory research, there is no need for hypothesis. There is no valid assumption. Because the outcome of scientific research is natural truth. We can experiment n times. The output will be the same. And that type of valid output cannot be seen in social science research because we have a network of relationship among certain variables or chain of relationship among certain variables. So therefore, such a relationship is only an assumption, assumed relationship among certain variable under study. And these variables can again classify into dependent and independent. So assumed relationship between dependent and independent variable is called a hypothesis. That is a common feature of social science research. Formulation of hypothesis. So identification of a problem, define and redefine the problems, make the problem more clear. So many factors or elements can be identified or a variable can be identified, classified into dependent and independent, and try to get assumed relationship among such classification of variables, dependent and independent. So that is the very basic of social science research, formulation of hypothesis. And collecting, organizing, and evaluation of data only for testing the hypothesis, or to prove whether our assumed relationship is true or not. For that purpose, we collect data, organize it, evaluate it, and analyze it. So data is essential. Data is essential for testing a hypothesis or to validate our hypothesis. So once we set a hypothesis, such a hypothesis has to be tested with the data. That is why we collect it, organize it, evaluate it, and analyze it only to prove whether our assumption or hypothesis is true or not. So based on the testing of hypothesis, definitely we have certain conclusions. Our findings, our assumptions is valid or not. That validation is the base of our conclusion. So after testing a hypothesis, definitely we have certain conclusions or findings, and that may be reported to the stakeholders of research. So this is a very important definition in association with the research. Almost all the elements, all steps are involved in this definition. The starting point, identification of a problem in a particular area. Define and redefine the problem, make the problem more clear. So many elements or variables have to be identified, classified them into dependent and independent, and try to establish some relation. And such a relation is only an assumption. That assumed relationship is called hypothesis. And based on the data collected, organized, and analyzed, we have to prove whether our hypothesis or assumed relationship is true or not. That means we have to validate our hypothesis. That is why there is testing of hypothesis. So based on the testing of hypothesis and the output of the testing, we have to make certain conclusions and findings, and such conclusions and findings may be reported to the stakeholders of research. So that is why almost all the elements of research, steps involved in the research, are included in this definition. So I will give one example. What is the starting point of research? Selection of an area. The candidate or the researcher has to select an area for research. From that area, the candidate has to select a topic. Then the researcher identify a problem in that topic in a particular area and identify n number of sub-problems from the main problem. And all these can be fulfilled only through literature review. That is why extensive literature review is very essential in social science research, only for identification of a problem and selection of an area, and at the same time n number of problems have to be identified from the main problem. These are the sub problems associated with the main problems. So this can be possible only through extensive literature review. And I will give one example. My area of study is finance. I have chosen my area of study, area of research is finance. I want to do research in the area of finance. And the topic sugar industry. Finance is the area of research, topic is sugar industry. And when we go through some of the literatures available relating to sugar industry, we can see many of the sugar manufacturing units functioning in Karnataka were declared as sick. Why? This is the main problem. Then we go through the financial statements of such manufacturing organizations. We can find that they were running at a loss. Again, why? Then we go through the financial statements of these manufacturing institutions, organizations. We can see expenditure exceeds revenue. Again, why? Then we go through the cost structure, material, labor, and overhead. And we can see all these elements are increasing at an alarming rate. Why? So from the main problem, we can identify n number of sub-problems and make the problem more clear by identifying many sub-problems. And the main problem and sub-problem are the base of social science research. What are the characteristics of scientific research? Suppose a research scholar has to do research in finance or marketing or HR. Why such a research is called as scientific research? A research is called as scientific research because it relies on empirical evidence. Whatever we say, we have to prove it empirically, that means with the data. And at the same time, our research utilize relevant concepts and theory already developed by somebody else. And at the same time, our research has well-framed objectives. We have a problem, make the problem more clear by adding more and more sub-problems. And based on such a problem, we have certain objectives of research. And correct a statement about the population. From where we have to collect data? From whom we have to collect data? How many respondents in our area of study? That is the population. And we have certain probabilistic predictions. If you have certain assumed relationship, that can be tested with the application probability concept. That means we have to test our hypothesis. And finally, if our research is called a scientific research, definitely we can formulate certain theories scientifically. Then only we can say that our research is scientific. And I have already mentioned in social science research, we have a network of relationship, chain of relationship, and we establish such a relationship among certain variables classified into dependent and independent. So here, what is hypothesis? Hypothesis is an assumed relationship between dependent variable and independent variable. So here, such a hypothesis has to be tested with the data. Data has been classified as primary and secondary. We can use primary data or secondary data only for proving our assumed relationship. So for example, purchasing behavior of a customer is dependent on the good quality products or the cheaper price or advertisement or after sales service. So all these factors affect purchasing behavior. So for that purpose, in order to test such a valid assumption, we collect either primary data or secondary data. So there is a question, from where we have to collect data? Suppose your topic is customer satisfaction. You collect information from the customers. And at the same time, your objective of research is to get information from the Kudumbashree members. So your target group is the Kudumbashree members. If we collect all the information from all the customers, it is a census inquiry because it's on limitation. So there is an alternative type of inquiry that is called sampling. In the sampling, the researcher has to study only a part of the population. So for example, the total number of customers of a particular bank, the total number of customers of a particular bank, more than 1 lakh customers. If we collect information from all the customers, it is a census inquiry. It has its own limitation. So that is why there is an alternative method of inquiry that is called sampling. Selection of sample respondents from the population, that is called sampling. And there are two methods of sampling, probability and non-probability. At the time of the selection of sample from the population, when we apply probability concept, it is called probability sampling. That means every unit in the population has an equal chance of being included in my sample. Equal chance of being included in my sample. And that is called probability sampling. If we have no application at the time of the selection of sample from the population with regard to probability, it is called non-probability sampling. So anyway, whatever the method we applied for the selection of sample from the population, there will be an inquiry, either census inquiry or sampling inquiry. And based on such inquiry, we collect data only to prove our hypothesis or test our hypothesis or validate our assumption about dependent variable and independent variable. And here the data has to be collected, organized, and analyzed. At the same time, we have three types of analysis: univariate analysis, bivariate analysis, and multivariate analysis. So based on the context, based on the type of relationship to be tested, we have to use either univariate, bivariate, or multivariate analysis. So at the time of the selection of sample from the population, there are two assumptions or conditions to be satisfied. The parent population from where the sample have been drawn is normally distributed. That is very important. If we select a certain sample from the population, definitely the population must be normally distributed. And the sample selected will be the true representative of the population. True representative of the population. These two are the basic conditions to be fulfilled at the time of the selection of the sample from the population. In some of the open defenses conducted by me for the award of PhD in different universities in our country, normally I shall ask one question: what is your sample size? And how did you fix your sample size? So majority of the research scholars or candidate has not answered properly to that question. So the sampling, method of sampling, sample size, and these are very important in research. So again, I come to the meaning of the term hypothesis. So hypothesis means a predictive statement that stands to be validated. It's only a predictive statement. It is only an assumption. That means tentative solution to the research problem. So more technically, we can say the meaning of the term hypothesis: assume a relationship between dependent variable and independent variable. This is called a statistical hypothesis. If we frame a hypothesis, definitely there will be the assumed relationship between dependent variable and independent variable. If we can't identify which is the dependent variable, which is independent variable in your hypothesis, that hypothesis is not clear. It is only a statement. That means in your hypothesis, you must identify the relationship between dependent variable and independent variable. Here I would like to say the three hypotheses. There is no dependence between the income of an individual and the purchasing behavior. See, a purchasing behavior is the dependent variable. Income of an individual is the independent variable. And there is no significant variation in the satisfaction level of the customers of different area. And the satisfaction level is the dependent variable, and customers of different area is the independent variable. And the third hypothesis is very relevant. Brand equity is independent of the customer satisfaction, customer trust, and customer loyalty. So here brand equity is the dependent variable, customer satisfaction, customer trust, and customer loyalty. These three are the independent variable. So there is the question: when will the hypothesis be formulated? The hypothesis shall be formulated at the time of literature review, or at the time of variable identification and classified them into dependent and independent. But unfortunately, majority of the research scholars and research supervising teachers identified the hypothesis only at the time of data analysis. So frankly speaking, the hypothesis shall be formulated at the time of literature review. Because in the literature review, we identify n number of variables, classify them into dependent and independent. Definitely, we can formulate a hypothesis with the association of dependent and independent variable. So, hypothesis shall be formulated at the time of literature review. Then that hypothesis shall be proved with the data, or hypothesis shall be validated. For that purpose, we collect data. Data has to be collected, organized, and analyzed. So there are three types of analysis: univariate analysis, bivariate analysis, and multivariate analysis. So in the univariate analysis, there is only one variable analysis. And in the case of bivariate analysis, there are two variables. One must be dependent, another must be independent. And in the case of multivariate analysis, there is one dependent variable and more than one independent variable. So in the multivariate analysis, there are many independent variables which have certain impact on one dependent variable, sometimes more than one dependent variable. Therefore, such analysis is called a multivariate analysis. So what is the basis of data analysis? To prove the dependence. Customer satisfaction is affected by good quality products. Job satisfaction is affected by superior subordinate relation. So we have to prove the dependence in our hypothetical relation. And we need to test the variation of one variable in terms of another. Variation of one variable in terms of another. So variation has to be checked or tested. And sometimes we want to create certain groups in the population. So these are the very, very base of data analysis or the purpose of data analysis. See, sale of a commodity for the last 6 years, starting from 2014 to 2020, the sale of a commodity. We have only one variable sale. No other variable we can identify. So this is a univariate analysis because we can apply discrete statistics here. So this is the perfect example of bivariate analysis. Demand for a commodity for the last 5 years, starting from 2016. Demand for the commodity. Then in addition to demand, we have another variable, another factor, price charged for the commodity for over the last 5 years. So demand for the commodity, price charged for the commodity. Demand is a function of price. So this is the bivariate analysis. Demand is the dependent variable and price charged for the commodity is the independent variable. Many statistical techniques can be applied to test the relationship between dependent variable and independent variable in the bivariate analysis, like regression, correlation, t-test, one-way ANOVA, and some of the non-parametric tests also. So here, in addition to demand and price, we have one more variable, advertisement expenditure. So demand is a function of price and advertisement expenditure. Price and advertisement expenditures have some impact on demand. So demand is a dependent variable. The price and advertisement expenditures are the independent variable. Therefore, this is the multivariate analysis. Many statistical techniques can be applied for multivariate analysis: multiple regression, multiple correlation, partial correlation, logistic regression, factor analysis, cluster analysis, discriminant analysis, canonical correlation, conjoint analysis, MANOVA, MANCOVA, and sometimes the structural equation modeling, otherwise called path analysis. So these are the statistical techniques to be applied for multivariate analysis, in which we have one dependent variable and more than one independent variable. Sometimes we have more than one dependent variable also. So here we come the very, very important section, type of variable or the scale used for the measurement of a variable: nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. Numeric scales are otherwise called categorical scale. Ordinal means a variable or factor that can be expressed numerically. What is your age? You will say 32. What is your age? Another person tells you, my age is 45. So anything that can be numerically expressed, therefore the scale usually is ordinal. An interval, sometimes we use different extremes, sometimes 5-point scale or 7-point scale. Whether you are satisfied? No, I am not satisfied. You are extremely dissatisfied? Yes, I am extremely dissatisfied. Another person tells you, I am satisfied. To a certain extent, I am satisfied. And another person told you, I am fully satisfied, extremely satisfied. So this is called an interval scale only for measurement of a qualitative variable. So interval scale is used for the measurement of a qualitative variable. And another scale, ratio. What is the temperature today? Today in Kerala, we have a rainy season. Therefore, the temperature is only 24 degrees. In Mysore, 28 degrees. And in Rajasthan, The temperature is 40. So nowadays the temperature in Delhi 42 degrees Celsius. And what is your temperature in your body? 98 degree. And the temperature crosses over 100 degree. Then we have fever. So this is called a ratio scale. But normally the ratio scale is not used in social science research. It can be used in agriculture research and medical research, ratio scale. And one more scale normally used in your questionnaire. Suppose your question is having more than one answer, multiple answer. What are the factors affecting your motivation? What are the factors affecting your discomfort in your workplace? Many answers. That question has many answers, multiple answers. Then the respondent is asked to rank such answers or give you the preference over such answers. So that is why it is called ordinal ranking. Ordinal ranking. So in social science research, normally we can use nominal scale, otherwise called a categorical scale, ordinal scale. That means the variables that can be quantified or expressed numerically. Interval scale for the measurement of a qualitative variable, otherwise called attributes. Then the ordinal ranking scale, because one question is having more than one answers, therefore there is a direction given to the respondents about the preference of such answers. Therefore the scale usually is ordinal ranking. And finally the ratio scale. The ratio scale may not be used in social science research. It can be used only in science, medical and agricultural research. See, this is a structured questionnaire, a very good questionnaire, prepared by a researcher only for the measurement of work-life balance of women gynecologists. Measurement of work-life balance of women gynecologists. The topic of research is work-life balance of women gynecologists. We want to measure the work-life balance, work-life conflict, family life conflict of the working women gynecologist. Therefore, the researcher prepare a questionnaire or interview schedule for survey among women gynecologists only for the measurement of their work-life balance or work-life conflict or family life conflict. See, in the first part of the questionnaire, there is a demographic profile, personal profile of the gynecologist. Here, the target group is the gynecologist, women gynecologists working in a state. So, the first part normally use the questions for collecting the personal information or demographic information. Name of the gynecologist, age, 5 categories here. Below 25, 25 to 35, 36 to 45, 46 to 55, above 55. So here the scale used is the categorical scale, nominal scale. Nominal scale is otherwise called categorical scale. We want to create certain groups in the population. That means the gynecologists are having an age below 25. Another category, gynecologists having an age between 25 to 35. Another category we want to create in the population, the gynecologists aged 36 to 45. Similarly, we fix different groups or predict different groups in our population. Therefore, it is called a nominal scale, otherwise it's called a categorical scale. So according to question number 2, we have 5 categories. We fix 5 categories in our population. So the scale usually is nominal. Similarly, in the third question, what is your qualification? The qualification of the gynecologist, women gynecologist. MBBS with the gynecology, MBBS with the gynecology and obstetrics, MBBS with the gynecology and pediatrics. So Again, we have three categories. The scale usually is nominal. Number of years of experience less than 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 16 to 20, above 20. So we want to create 5 groups in the population. Therefore, the scale usually is nominal. So nominal scale, whatever be the question, the nominal scale clearly indicate how many intended groups or categories you can fix in your population. That is why it is called a categorical scale, otherwise called a nominal scale. And similarly, question number 6, question number 7, question number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17, and 18, first part. All these scales are nominal because up to question number 18, the first part, definitely we want to see some groups existing in the population. We want to create different groups in the population, different categories in the population. Therefore, such scales are called a categorical scale or nominal scale. Similarly, question number 18, the second part. Do you feel any discomfort in your workplace? Yes or no? Those gynecologists who can say yes, those gynecologists who can say no. Therefore, two categories in our population. But if it is yes, what are the reasons? We have identified 12 reasons. Overworkload, night shift, no specific time, low salary, no support from superiors, no support from management, stress of patients, poor facility in hospitals, no time to manage own house, pressure from husbands and kids, no support from colleagues, no job freedom. These are the major reasons the researcher has identified through literature review, such reasons for the discomfort in their workplace. So, all the 12 reasons more or less affect the discomfort. Which is the most powerful reason as per your opinion? So that is why such a question has many answers and the investigator or the researcher direct the respondents to rank all these factors. So the researchers definitely given a direction to the respondent to give their preference about these reasons or rank these reasons. Therefore, the scale used is ordinal ranking. Ordinal ranking. Then question number 19, you can see this questionnaire, the question number 19. You are requested to mark your response on a 7-point scale, 7 for strongly agree, 1 for strongly disagree, for the following statements relating to the factors affecting the work-life conflict and balance in your work life. See, the bad environmental climate in hospital, one variable you identified through literature review. No peaceful ambience in hospital, another variable identified through literature review. Emotional nature of the work, again another variable. So many variable affects the stress of the gynecologist. The stress will create family life conflict and work-life conflict. Both the family life conflict and work-life conflict definitely affects the work-life balance of women gynecologists. So anyway, bad environmental climate in hospital, not peaceful ambience in hospital, emotional nature of work, all the three variable affects the work-life balance or work-life conflict or family life conflict of the gynecologists working in government and private hospital, whatever it may be. So these are the three main reasons for the work-life imbalance of gynecologists. See, bad environment and climate in hospital. Whether this variable is the qualitative variable or quantitative variable. Bad environment and climate in hospital is a qualitative variable. No peaceful ambience in hospital, again qualitative variable. Emotional nature of work, again qualitative variable. And quantitative variables are otherwise called attributes. Why? Because we can't express it numerically. And I like to say one question. What is your satisfaction? No, we can't measure it. What is your perception? We can't measure it. What is your attitude towards your family? Attitude that cannot be expressed in quantitative terms. Therefore, such variables are called attributes, otherwise called qualitative variable. But the data has to be collected and analyzed to see whether such qualitative variables have certain impact on the dependent variable. Sometimes the dependent variable is also the attribute or qualitative variable. So in theory says that nobody can measure the qualitative variable under study. There is no way qualitative variable can be expressed numerically. But what is your age? What is your weight? What is the price of shares in the stock market today? That can be quantified. That can be expressed in numerical terms. Therefore, such variables are called quantitative variable. But satisfaction, dissatisfaction, affection, attitude, perception, that cannot be expressed numerically. But we must express it. We must measure it. Measure such qualitative variable. Measure such attributes only for the collection of data and analysis of data for identifying whether there is any relationship between dependent variable or independent variable, and dependent variable and independent variables are sometimes qualitative variable. But theory says that qualitative variable cannot be expressed numerically. There is no way to express the qualitative variable or attributes numerically. But we have to measure it. Measure it only for analyzing our data. Only for establishing the relationship between dependent variable and independent variable. Or only to prove our hypothetical relation. Or to validate our hypothesis or to test our hypothesis. We have to measure the qualitative variable. So that is why there is a theory of measurement. And the only possible thing to measure the qualitative variable is to get the response from the respondents about a 5-point scale or 7-point scale basis. That is why here the scale used is interval scale. Why it is called interval? Because my satisfaction is extremely satisfied. I am extremely satisfied. So what is the score you given to that extremely satisfied response? If you use 5-point scale, we will give 5. If we use 7-point scale, the maximum score given to the highly satisfied response, 7. If you use 10-point scale, the highest preference, highest level of satisfaction, extremely satisfaction, we will give 10, a score of 10. If you give a score of 10, 7 or 5 or 1 or 3 or 7 or whatever it may be, definitely we can measure that qualitative variable with the interval scale. So that is why interval scale is used for measurement. Nominal scale I have already explained. Then ordinary ranking scale I have already explained. Ordinary scale I have already explained. But here the interval scale is used only for the measurement of a qualitative variable. See, the bad environment, the climate in hospital, that is a qualitative variable, and that can be measured by using 4 statements. I am afraid of getting certain diseases due to the bad environment. Fear of infection is very high when I attend cases. No effective system for keeping the hospital premises clean. Overcrowding of patients sometimes prevents me from looking after patients thoroughly. These 4 statements indicate bad environment and climate in hospital. Or bad environment in climate in hospital. This is a qualitative variable that is reflected by all the 4 statements used here for measurement. And we direct the respondents to give their response about the first statement, second statement, third statement, fourth statement on a 7-point scale basis. I am afraid of getting certain diseases due to bad environment. If I strongly agree, definitely the score I give is 7. If I am totally disagree, extremely disagree, strongly disagree, definitely the score put into that box is 1. More or less, I agree. Sometimes we use 3 or 4 or 5 scores to them. If we assign a particular score, either 5-point scale or 7-point scale about a particular statement, automatically that qualitative variable can be measured numerically. That is why such a scale is called a interval scale. Interval scale. So when you frame a particular questionnaire or structure a particular questionnaire or interview schedule, normally we use nominal scale only for creating certain groups in the population or categorize the population. And ordinal scale, sometimes we want to create or we want to get an exact figure. Say, for example, what is the price of the shares of a company in a stock market today? Then what is the dividend? How much percentage of dividend the company has to declare? Or what is your mark? What is your age? So the scale usually is numeric, the ordinal scale. That means the variable that can be quantified, that can be expressed numerically. Therefore, the scale usually is ordinal. And if you have a question having different answers or multiple answers, therefore the scale usually is ordinal ranking. Ordinal ranking. And the interval scale is normally used for the measurement of a qualitative variable. And here the bad environmental climate in hospital, that can be measured on a 7-point scale basis. The response may be obtained from the respondents on a 7-point scale basis. And based on the response or score given to these statements by the targeted respondents, definitely we can measure that qualitative variable. Therefore, here the scale usually is interval. The scale usually is interval. So there is a question normally come up. Why we use 4 statement 19.1, 19.2, 19.3, 19.4? Only 4 statement we use for the measurement of this variable. Bad environment, climate in hospital. Why we have not used 5 statement? Why we have not used 3 statement? So as many statements are required for the measurement of a qualitative variable that can be identified, that can be fixed by using a reliability analysis. So reliability analysis is a statistical technique which clearly mention these are the statements required for the measurement of a qualitative variable. As many statements are required for the measurement of a qualitative variable, that will be decided by the output of the reliability analysis. So that is why reliability analysis is a very, very important statistical technique which clearly indicate how many statements are required for the measurement of a qualitative variable by using interval scale. So that is why interval scale is used for the measurement of a qualitative variable. See, with this questionnaire document or interview schedule document, the researcher collected the data and collect such data and enter the data in the spreadsheet of SPSS software. Spreadsheet of SPSS software. The software has variable view and data view. See, what is the first question? The first question is name. Normally, that question is irrelevant in our study, name of the respondent. But we can identify who has given this particular information. Definitely, the name is essential, but name is not used for analysis normally. What is the second question? Age below 25, 25 to 35, 36 to 45, 46 to 55, above 55. So we have 5 category. The scale used is nominal. So in the SPSS software, the first respondent, his age is 5. His age is 5 means what? Age 5. The 5 code. That means above 55. That means the first respondent is having an age above 55. What is the third question? Third question, qualification of that particular gynecologist we have selected for our study. Her qualification 3 means MBBS with the gynecology and pediatrics. So we can say the first respondent or the first Gynecologist we selected for our study, and her qualification is 3. 3 means gynecology with the pediatrics. So this is the way in which we enter the data in the SPSS software, that means a spreadsheet of SPSS software, and we use a structured questionnaire where we have different scales like nominal scale, ordinal ranking scale, and interval scale. So this is the way we collect and enter the data in the spreadsheet of SPSS software. Then we try to establish the relationship based on the scale. See, I want to create some relationship with the question number 12. What is question number 12? Type of hospital. The type of hospital where the gynecologist is working. The selected gynecologists are working. So sometimes the selected gynecologists are working in government hospital. Sometimes they work in a private hospital. So type of hospital, question number 12 has two categories. Those gynecologists working in government hospital and those gynecologists working in private hospital. Therefore, the type of hospital, that particular question is in nominal scale or categorical scale. And we have two categories: government hospital gynecologists and gynecologists working in private hospital. And I want to establish the relationship between question number 12 and question number 17. What is the question number 17? Number of transfers in your service: no transfer, 1 transfer, 3 transfer, 4 transfer, and more than 3. So according to question number 17, we have 5 categories because the scale usually is categorical scale. We have 5 categories according to question number 17. See, here we want to connect question number 12. Question number 12 means the type of hospital having 2 groups, government and private, with question number 17 having 5 groups or 5 category. Those gynecologists having no transfer in their life, 1 transfer, and again gynecologists having 2 transfers in the working life, 3 transfers, and more than 3. Therefore, when we connect question number 12 and question number 17, both of the questions are in nominal scale. Therefore, the relation is nominal to nominal. Nominal scale to nominal scale relations you can prove. So what is the hypothesis here? The hypothesis is very simple. There is no significant dependence, association, or relationship between the type of hospital and the number of transfers in your service. This is the hypothesis. There is no significant dependence or relation or association between question number 17 and question number 12, because both the questions are in nominal scale. Therefore, the relationship is nominal to nominal. The first question, we have 2 category. Question number 12, we have 2 category. Question number 17, we have 5 category. Therefore, our relationship is like this. There is no significant dependence or relation or association between the type of hospital and the number of transfers. There is no significant dependence or association or relationship between the type of hospital and the number of transfers. Here the relation is nominal to nominal. So there is another theory associated with the nominal and ordinal ranking scale. The theory is like this: nominal and ordinal ranking scale variable will not give a normal distribution, it will give only frequency distribution. Nominal or ordinal ranking scale variable will not give a normal distribution, it will give only frequency distribution. Therefore, in order to test our hypothesis, definitely we will go for non-parametric test. Non-parametric test. So here, question number 12, type of hospital And question number 17, number of transfers of gynecologists working in these two type of hospital. The hypothesis is there is no significant dependence or association or relationship between the type of hospital and the number of transfers of gynecologists working there. And that hypothesis shall be tested with the non-parametric test, because the theory says that nominal scale or categorical scale variable or ordinal ranking scale variable will not give normal distribution. It will give only frequency distribution. Therefore, we test that hypothesis with the chi-square. See, take analyze, discrete statistics, crosstalk, and we take question number 12 having two category and put into rows, and question number 17 again two category, 5 category put into column. Statistics we need a chi-square, and the cell we need a row percentage, and you click OK, automatically the cross tab will come, cross table will come. So what is the cross tab? According to type of hospital, we have two categories. Question number 12, those gynecologists working in government hospital, those gynecologists working in private hospital. And question number 12, type of hospital have two categories. And number of transfers, no transfer, one transfer, two transfer, three transfer, more than 3. And we have 5 categories in question number 17. And we want to test that hypothesis, whether there is any relationship between or association between or dependence between type of hospital and number of transfers. So here in the cross tab or cross table, we have many cells, and each cell we have frequency distribution only. And this hypothesis tested by chi-square. Here the chi-square value is 152.021, degrees of freedom 4, and asymptote is 600. That means the probability is less than 0.05. Here the value is 0.00, asymptote is 6, the probability is 0.000, which means this 0.000 is less than 0.05. 0.05 means 5% level of significance. So at 5% level of significance, the value of the chi-square is found significant. Therefore, the null hypothesis has to be rejected. What is our null hypothesis? There is no significant relationship between type of hospital and number of transfers. These two aspects have no relation. That is our hypothesis. But based on the value of the chi-square with less than 5%, that means less than 0.05 probability, we should reject the hypothesis and saying that these two are closely associated. These two are closely associated means the type of hospital and the number of transfers. These two are closely associated. Therefore, we reject the null hypothesis. So here, definitely the relationship is nominal scale to nominal scale. The assumption nominal scale variable will not give a normal distribution. It will give only frequency distribution. And when we test the hypothesis with an assumed relationship between nominal scale to nominal scale variable, definitely we will go for non-parametric test. And here the appropriate non-parametric test is the chi-square, application of chi-square. So here the relationship is nominal to nominal. Then it comes to the next scaling. Do you feel any discomfort in your workplace? Yes or no? It's a categorical scale. It is a nominal scale. But if yes, please rank the following reason. That particular question has 12 possible answers. So if a question is having more than one answer or multiple answer or more than 2 answers, definitely the scale usually is ordinal ranking, because the respondents are asked to rank their preferences. So here the scale usually is ordinal ranking, and like a categorical scale or nominal scale, ordinal ranking scale variable will create frequency distribution, and it will not create normal distribution. Again, we will go for non-parametric test to identify which is the most dominant reason which create discomfort. So through literature review, we can identify 12 reasons for the discomfort in the work life of women gynecologists under study. And all the 12 variables have more or less equal importance. So which is the most dominant one? We take all the variables, all the 12 variables, all the 12 reasons as a bundle and identify which is the most dominant one. So that is why we will again go for another non-parametric tests to test our hypothesis. So what is the hypothesis? Based on ordinary ranking scale here, our hypothesis is like this. There is no significant difference in the reason for the discomfort of women gynecologists. There is no difference in the reason for the discomfort of the women gynecologists working in a particular state. So that hypothesis can be tested with another non-parametric test like Friedman test because the scale used is ordinal ranking. And we take all the 12 variables as a bundle and identify which is the most dominant one. So for that purpose, in order to test that hypothesis, the appropriate statistical method used will be Friedman test. And we select non-parametric, legacy dialog, and K-related. And here we have Friedman test. Therefore, we take all the 12 variables starting from 18 point A, because in the questionnaire we have question number 18, 2 category, and if it is as 12 reasons, and all the 12 reasons are to be ranked by the respondents. Therefore, the scale used is ordinary ranking scale, and we select all the 12 reasons as a bundle, 18 point A to 18 point L, all the 12 reasons we select together and taken together and put into this box and click OK, and definitely we will get the mean rank. The first matrix is the mean rank of each and every variable. We have 12 variables here, 12 possible reasons for the discomfort of the workplace. Therefore, we have 12 mean values in that matrix. And we select the lowest one because the rank one should have the lowest mean. Therefore, we have to select the lowest one night shift. So out of the 12 variable, based on the lowest rank, the night shift is the most dominant variable. Out of the 12, the night shift is the most dominant variable, and such mean score variation is statistically significant by observing the chi-square value of the Friedman test. Here the chi-square value is 749.455 and the p-value less than 0.05, that means 0.00. Therefore, the chi-square is found significant. Therefore, we reject our null hypothesis. What was our null hypothesis? There is no significant difference in the preference of the reason for the discomfort of the gynecologists working in our state. And based on the rejection of such hypothesis and based on the lowest mean rank, we should say that night shift is the most dominant reason why there is discomfort of gynecologists in their working hospital. So that hypothesis has to be rejected. So here we use ordinal ranking scale. The basic assumption, ordinal ranking scale variable will give normal distribution. It will not give, the ordinary ranking scale variable will give frequency distribution and it will not give normal distribution. And another important scale I have already mentioned, the bad environment, the climate in hospital, that is a qualitative variable and that can be measured by using interval scale. 4 statements were used for the measurement of this qualitative variable on a 7-point scale basis. 7 for strongly agree, 1 for strongly disagree. So there is normally a question is coming up. why we use 4 statements? Why we have not used 5 statements or 3 statements? So this 4 statement is the most reliable statement for the measurement of this qualitative variable, and that reliability is tested with the application of reliability analysis. The reliability analysis clearly tells you that these are the statements required for the measurement of a qualitative variable. So how to apply the qualitative variable? Take analyze, select scale. We have reliability options, and we need only 4 statements starting from 19.1 to 19.4 based on the questionnaire, and simply the statistic for the reliability analysis alpha, and in the statistic we need a scale. If item deleted, continue and click OK. See, this is the output of the reliability analysis. The reliability analysis, the statistic is Cronbach alpha value. Here the Cronbach alpha value is 0.956 overall Cronbach alpha value, and any value over and above 7 is highly reliable. The cutoff value for the reliability analysis is 0.7, and anything beyond that value 0.7 is highly essential for proving whether such statements are reliable for the measurement of a qualitative variable. So here the overall Cronbach alpha value 0.956. Then we have the second matrix. We have 4 statements, and in association with the Cronbach alpha value, individual value of the 4 statements. Here the individual value of the first statement 0.943, second 0.935, third 0.942, and the last statement for the measurement of bad environmental climate, another qualitative variable 0.948. See, all these values are less than the overall Cronbach alpha value, or overall Cronbach alpha value must be greater than individual Cronbach alpha value. So that is why the reliability analysis for the mesh identifying how many statements are required for the measurement of a qualitative variable, and such measurement is valid here. What are the conditions? The first condition, overall Cronbach alpha value must be greater than individual Cronbach alpha value, or individual Cronbach alpha value must be less than overall Cronbach alpha value. So in this situation, we have 4 statements. All the 4 statements are having Cronbach alpha value less than overall, or overall value in this case is greater than the Cronbach alpha value, individual value of each and every statement. So here we can say that all the 4 statements are highly reliable for the measurement of that qualitative variable or attribute, bad environment climate in hospital, because we need only 4 statements upon which 7-point scale are used for the measurement of that qualitative variable. So here the scale used is interval, and 4 statements are reliable. Why? Or 4 statements are required. Why? Because the overall Cronbach alpha value must be greater than individual Cronbach alpha value, or individual Cronbach alpha value of each and every statement is less than overall Cronbach alpha value. So at this point we can say that all the 4 statements are required. Only 4 statements are required for the measurement of that qualitative variable, bad environment climate in hospital. So this is the application of reliability analysis, especially against interval scale variable. Interval scale variable. Hello. So this is the reliability analysis against the interval scale variable. So coming to again this questionnaire, this is the interval scale variable. This is a qualitative variable or attribute that can be measured by using 7-point scale, Likert scale with 4 statements. So interval scale is a scale only used for the measurement of a qualitative variable. When we use 4 statements, which 7-point scale is used for the getting response from the respondents, automatically this qualitative variable became quantitative variable. That is the relevance of measurement through interval scale. Now this variable became quantitative variable. Qualitative variable is converted into quantitative variable only for analysis of data with a 7-point scale or 5-point scale or 10-point scale sometimes. And if we use interval scale, automatically the qualitative variable becomes quantitative variable. Now it is quantitative variable. In hospital or government hospital. So relation is question number 12. Environment climate in hospital. Question number 12, nominal scale. Bad environment climate, interval scale. So here the relation is nominal to interval. Nominal to interval. So we want to see whether the bad environment climate is very high, either in government hospital or private hospital. The relation is nominal to interval. Nominal to interval. We have already discussed nominal to nominal relation, nominal to ordinal rank scale relation. Now the relation is nominal to interval, because question number 12, nominal, having 2 groups, and bad environment climate in hospital, that is interval scale. So here our hypothesis is like this. There is no significant difference in the bad environment climate in government and private hospital. There is no significant difference of bad environment climate in government and private hospital. And this hypothesis is the parametric test. Why we use parametric test? Once the bad environment climate is a qualitative variable or attribute, and by using the interval scale, either 5-point scale or 7-point scale or 10-point scale basis, definitely that qualitative variable will become quantitative variable. If a variable is found quantitatively or expressed numerically, we can use parametric test. And here, according to question number 12, we have 2 groups, government hospital and private hospital. So if we connect that question with the bad environment climate in hospital, our hypothesis is like this: there is no significant difference in the bad environment climate in private and government hospital. Therefore, in order to test that hypothesis, we will go for parametric test. The appropriate parametric test here is independent sample t-test. Independent sample t-test, and take analyze. Compare means independent sample t-test. Our variable or nominal scale variable. Question number 12, having 2 groups. This is a grouping variable. The first one, government group, government climate in hospital. Bad environment climate in hospital, BCH, which means bad environment climate in hospital. This box, click OK. Then definitely the first matrix is matrix, mean value. The environment climate in hospital, the response of the selected gynecologist from government highest mean. Parametric test, or when we use quantitative variable, we can take the highest mean value. See the highest mean value 0.35 as in relation to private hospital. So based on the highest mean value, we can say that the bad environmental climate is found to be very high in private hospital than government hospital. So there is a difference in the mean value. And that difference is found significant by using the t-test. Here the t-value minus 13.423, degrees of freedom 338, and p-value less than 0.05. These three values are very important in the matrix, the second matrix, the output of the independent sample t-test. Here t-value minus 13.423 and the degrees of freedom 338 and p-value less than 0.05. Therefore, the mean variation is found significant, and that is why we reject the null hypothesis. There is no significant difference of bad environmental climate in hospital and private hospital. We reject the null hypothesis, and we interpret that the climate is found to be very high in private hospital because of the highest mean. The difference, the variation, the parametric test like independent sample t-test, the probability is significant. So in statistics. So we reject the null hypothesis. So here we use the nominal to interval relation. What is a nominal scale variable? Type of hospital according to question number 12. This is a nominal scale variable or categorical variable, and bad environmental climate in hospital for the measurement of variable. Categorical scale, nominal scale to interval scale. So that normally in social science research, especially in commerce and management, in the questionnaire, the first part definitely the information about the demographic profile or personal profile of the respondents. Such party A is normally we use the nominal scale or categorical scale. The second part, the connecting link to our subject. Here the connecting link is for discomfort, and many answers to that variables. So here usually is ordinal, and at the same times we have many qualitative variable affecting our study, classified them into dependent and independent, and sometimes these qualitative variable theoretically we can say nobody can express this qualitative variable or attributes numerically or express it numerically, but at the same time we have to measure it for our analysis, and for the measurement we use interval scale, and here we use 4 statements for the measurement of this qualitative variable, and these 4 statements are fixed by the output of the reliability analysis. So in the application of different statistical methods, definitely the researcher scholar has to identify which is the relation, whether the relation is nominal to ordinal ranking, or nominal to interval, sometimes interval to interval. When we use regression against a qualitative variable, definitely the relationship is interval to interval. So the scaling is very, very important in research. When we construct a questionnaire or develop an instrument for the collection of data, different scales are used appropriately, and based on the scale we collect data, and the application of some of the statistical methods are based on the different scales you use, the research scholar has to use in the development of a questionnaire or construction of a questionnaire or interview schedule. So that is why the scaling is very, very important, and the scaling and measurement is very important. The measurement of qualitative variable for converting it into the numerical terms for analysis of data and to get meaningful conclusion about our relationship or to validate our hypothesis. So with these words, I conclude, and if you have any question, please ask, I will explain. Okay. If you have any question, I will explain. Yes.
Hari Kumar sir, can we move on to the question and answer session now, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Participants can interact with our resource person. You can type the question in the chat box.
Alright, you can unmute directly.
Otherwise, directly ask to me. Otherwise, directly ask to me.
Yeah, you can interact with sir. The session is open for discussion now. Participants, kindly raise your hand so that we unmute you.
Let them unmute. Headphone unmute.
Hello, sir.
Participants,
Hello. Good afternoon, Professor.
Yes, Kannan.
Yes, sir. Sir, when we can use the associate and difference the birds? Any changes that from one variable to another?
Wherever unmute.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello.
We request participants, please. Participants,
Please ask one by one. Please ask.
ಎಲ್ಲ mute ಮಾಡಿ.
Please ask one by one.
Good evening, Professor. This is
Yes,
Raja.
good evening. Yes, tell me.
Yeah, this is Raja from Chennai.
Okay.
So in your last part, you explained the parametric test, right?
Yes.
Bad environment regarding like that. So under
Okay.
that, there are 4 variables.
Ah.
While analyzing that particular part, you have chosen only one variable, right?
Yes.
What did you do for the 4 variables under bad environment? You clubbed
Okay.
all the 4, or
Yes.
you averaged it?
Raja, I will explain. See, the qualitative variable here is bad environment and climate in hospital.
Yes. Yes.
This qualitative variable is measured and converted numerically by
Okay.
using 4 statements.
Okay.
These 4 statements are fixed as per the output of the reliability analysis. The
All right.
reliability analysis, the overall Cronbach's alpha value is greater than individual Cronbach's alpha value of all the statements. Therefore,
Okay.
the reliability analysis clearly tells you that 4 statements are required. Only 4 statements are required for the measurement of this qualitative variable.
Okay. Okay.
So, in order to get this variable numerically, we add the gain for these 4 statements, because all the 4 statements upon which the response may be obtained on a 7-point scale basis. We add the response of 19.1 with the 19.2, 19.3 and 19.4. We add all the 4 responses, either 7 or 5 or 1 or whatever it may be. And when we add the response of 4 statements together, automatically this variables will come as numerically expressed.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
you got the point?
Yeah. That 4 values, Cronbach alpha value should be taken for analyzing that, independent.
No.
Right?
4 Cronbach's alpha value clearly indicates all
Yes.
the 4 statements
Yeah.
are labeled for the
Yeah,
measurement
reliable.
of a this qualitative variable.
Yes, sir.
Then we use a for statement for the measurement. The targeted sample on a suppose.
No, sir. At the time of analyzing this particular parametric test,
No.
you have taken only one variable, bad environment only you have taken.
Yes.
How did you take that?
Yes. I know.
Yeah.
I got that point.
Yes, sir.
A variable, qualitative variable that can be created. Targeted variable is variable. Numerical times will come.
Yeah, sir. Okay,
How
sir.
it
Okay.
is?
Correct, sir. Yeah, this is that the total of all the four variables, right?
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Any other question? Any other question?
Sir, we are unmuting. We are unmuting.
Hello.
Yeah. Tell me, madam.
Sir, yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, my question is that you talked about the relationship between can be like interval to interval, interval to nominal to interval. I didn't got that point. Can
Okay,
you please
madam.
explain once
Yes,
again?
yes. Connect question number 12 to question number 17. The relationship is nominal to nominal, nominal to nominal. So nominal scale variable will not give a normal distribution. It will give only frequency distribution. Therefore, we will go for non-parametric test to test the hypothesis. So here the relation is nominal to nominal. At the same
Last time.
nominal to interval. So nominal to nominal, nominal to ordinal, interval to interval, and nominal to interval. Different relations you can create with the different scales you use in your questionnaire. And based on such a scale relationship, we can apply appropriate statistical method to test the hypothesis. Okay? Okay, madam? You got the point?
Hello.
Madam? Any other question?
Shruti can ask the question. Shruti N.
Hi, yes, sir.
Yes, Rudy, tell me.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for the session, sir. My question is that in every questionnaire, there should be in analysis parameters that you explained, sir. That is, every questionnaire should be all the parameters is required to express our questions. Like you explained that nominal to nominal relationship, and then the reliability analysis, ranking in a fragment test, and then the nominal to interval, and then the interval to interval. Like this, all the standards should be inculcated or introduced in standard questionnaire, or we can maintain some other standards also.
Shruti, firstly you listen me.
Sir.
Normally in the first part of the questionnaire, we use some questions for getting information about the personal data or demographic data.
Okay,
so
sir.
at that time, we use nominal scale. Then some of the quantitative variable you selected for your study that can be measured by using interval scale. When you connect some questions of nominal to interval, the relation is nominal to interval. Suppose some of the qualitative variable you measured by using interval scale, and based on some qualitative variable you classified into dependent and independent, they try to establish some relationships among them. Then in the scale is nominal to nominal. So the application of appropriate statistical method is based on how you judicially use different scales in your questionnaire document. So that will clearly indicate what are the appropriate statistical technique in a particular situation. So that is why nominal to nominal, nominal to ordinal, nominal to ordinal ranking, nominal to nominal to interval, and interval to interval.
Yes, sir.
So that is very important. Okay.
Sir. Thank you.
Any other question?
Next, Sudha can ask the question.
Yeah. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I'm Sudha from Mangalore. Sir, thank you very much for your insightful session. We learned a lot. Sir, my question is, since your construct is so well formulated, why couldn't you take up factor analysis, sir?
Madam, here factor analysis is another statistical method, maybe the confirmatory factor analysis or exploratory factor analysis.
Yeah.
And the factor analysis can be applied only when you have n number of variables and you want to reduce such variable by applying exploratory factor analysis. The confirmatory factor analysis, we have already fixed some variable, and variables shall be measured by using different statements, and based on such variables and different statements used for the measurement, we draw a diagram or a path, and we test the reliability, validity, and whether a particular statement is highly reliable for the measurement of that variable. If it is not reliable, we delete such variable from the questionnaire document. So that is the application of confirmatory factor analysis. That depends on what is the use of a particular statistical technique in your study, or what is the objective of your study. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Next, Bhavana can answer the question.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. I am Bhavana.
Tell me.
Yeah, sir. I want to know how to perform the risk of bias assessment.
What do you mean?
Risk of how to perform the risk of bias assessment.
Yes, bias assessment is basically a particular element when you collect data with a particular questionnaire, a structured questionnaire. So there may be the possibility of getting some bias, but that can be eliminated by using the validity or reliability. If you test the validity or reliability, definitely you can minimize your bias. Okay?
Okay. 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 Thank you, sir.
Next, Sushmita K can ask the question.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Is my voice audible, sir?
Yes, audible to me.
So thank you, sir. Today this session was like a mystery was solved for me, so for a long time, which I was having in mind. I have one question, sir.
Okay.
Sir, you told the ordinal scale, no, sir. Could you just explain that part alone, sir? It is numerical, I understood. Can you give me more examples related to ordinal scale, sir?
Okay. What is your age?
I am 23, sir.
You are 23, I am 52. And Ganga Warrior maybe 45. Or Nadarajan and Annappa both are having 35 years of age. So age is a variable that can be expressed numerically. What is the price of shares of a company in the stock market today? 100. Tomorrow, 105. Day after tomorrow, 110. So that can be expressed numerically. So that is why the scale used is ordinal. Ordinal. But what is your satisfaction as a customer? Or what is your satisfaction as a bank employee? Can you measure? Can you express this numerically? No, because it is a qualitative variable. For data analysis purpose, we convert or measure that qualitative variable numerically. So that is called a measurement by using interval scale. So anything that can be expressed numerically, therefore the scale used is ordinal. Simply ordinal. Okay? Okay, madam? You got the point? Any other question? Any other question?
So no other questions right as of now.
Okay, shall we conclude?
Thank you, Hari Kumar, sir. May I request Dr. Satisha HK to propose vote of thanks?
Very good evening to one and all. It's my pleasure to propose a vote of thanks for the Day 2 International Faculty Development Program on Advanced Methodologies for Contemporary Research, a Pragmatic Approach. I'd like to propose vote of thanks to Dr. Pn Hari Kumar, sir, Professor, School of Business Management and Legal Studies, University of Kerala, Trivandrum, Kerala. Sir, behalf of the college and behalf of the participants, I thank you for sparing your valuable time with us. And it was a very excellent session, and many of them have got clarified the doubts. And it's a great beginning for many of them to look towards the research and also qualitative part. Thank you, sir. I thank our college principal, Dr. Chandrasekhar, sir, who always support for our programs. I like to propose thanks to our organizing secretary, Dr. Aizaz Ahmad Khan, MBA coordinator, who is instrumental behind of this FDP program. He's put on a lot of efforts to organize this program. I thank Aizaz sir also. I thank all organizing committee members, staff and non-teaching staff members of our college. And very important, I would like to thank all the participants of our FDP program. So we got an excellent response for this FDP program and a lot of consistency in participating in the program. Very active participants we are finding. And I thank all the participants, and we expect same type of participation throughout this FDP program. Tomorrow's topic, choice of appropriate statistical tools in business research. The resource person, Dr. Ishani Pataria, the faculty at Department of Commerce, Bhagat Phool Singh Mahila Vishwavidyalaya, Kanpur, Haryana. I also request all participants to fill the feedback form, which we posted on the chat box and also on our WhatsApp group and Telegram group. So I request all the participants to fill the feedback form. Once again, I thank everyone who was instrumental for this FFP program.
Thank you, Dr. Satish. With this, we come to the end of the Day 2 program. Thank you, one and all. Participants, kindly fill the feedback form.